they come in and say it's a security. Okay, well, what the hell does that mean if it's decentralized? How does Bitcoin register? Oh, but it's not. Then explain to me the fucking difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum and Cardano and the rest of the gang. Explain it to me. Like I'm 5 years old. Run the goddamn Howey test on it and show me the difference between the two. Tell me, is there an expectation of return with the goddamn orange pill moon boys? It's there. There's so many different planks and angles that you can take a look at this thing from. And by the way, if you subpoena and attack about 3 different entities, you could perform a 51% attack on Bitcoin because that's the way the hash power works. But it's decentralized, apparently. And Team Orange gets a complete pass. It's a pathetic fucking joke. It's an absolutely pathetic joke. You know, and it would be funny if not for the fact that hundreds of millions of dollars of legal fees have been exhausted in this Pyrrhic war that's being fought on the industry. And they'll lose court case after court case, as they already have, and will continue. And then at some point, it'll stop. There will not be an apology. There's not going to be any money that comes back, and we'll just move on. Like we did with the Kennedy assassination. We'll just move on. Like we did with Vietnam. We'll just move on. Like we did with Iraq and Afghanistan. We'll just move on like we're doing right now with COVID. We'll just move on like we did with all the things that have happened the last 50, 60, 70 years in the United States history. It has to stop. It honestly has to stop. Why do I praise libertarians come in? Because the only people that seem to think, the only people seem to improve the situation, the people that are unraveling the government. It's not accountable anymore. People harm people, they get away with it, and they just move on, and nothing changes. I'm tired of it. I think our industry's tired of it. The entire reason cryptocurrencies exist is not because somebody woke up and said, man, tokens on the internet is such a good idea. The entire reason cryptocurrencies exist is that we're trying collectively to reestablish the social contract, because the social contract is horrifically broken. If the people in charge are unelected, unaccountable, and don't ever have to prove to us, the beneficiaries of the public trust, that they're doing good for us. And when they screw up, nothing happens to them. They get a promotion, they get elected to higher office, and we just have to move on as a society. That is not a government for the people, by the people, of the people. That is something else. That looks a lot more like the thing that we rebelled against when we founded this goddamn country.
Okay, so that is Charles Hoskinson, obviously the Cardano leader, if you will, talking about what's the difference between Bitcoin and Cardano. Charles Hoskinson going off, Altcoin Daily says, on the SEC and Bitcoin getting a pass while Cardano and crypto has to suffer. Now, we're going to dive into this conversation pretty deep here. So this is where it all started, okay? Adam Back said this. It's very simple. Bitcoin did not do an ICO. Most people thought it had no value. It was mined from zero. It is decentralized. There is no CEO, ICO, orchestrated foundation, incorporation, etc. So Cardano, ETH, etc. clearly passes the Howey. Bitcoin is commodity and does not. So this is interesting because I do agree with Adam that there is a founding, person, group of people who you can look at and say, look, here are the people in this organization. Whereas Bitcoin, we don't know. It's anonymous, right? Like if you want to say something's completely decentralized, the funny thing is Shiba Inu. Like we don't know the founder there. That's a completely fair launch, same thing, right? That's actually similar to Bitcoin. Now, here's what Charles said back though. There was no Cardano ICO. See, I was under the impression the ICO didn't happen in the United States. I thought it happened in Japan. But he says there was an airdrop onto a distribution and then thousands of people who never met each other traded ADA on exchanges and used Cardano for their projects. A voucher sale of a different asset outside the United States, priced in yen, settled in Bitcoin, explained in Japanese to Japanese citizens, and without a single U.S. participant does not constitute an ICO of ADA. So there it is. Okay, I knew there was an element there that we were going to hit on. So he says, I'm sure you have legal advice to not say certain things. So we're at a slight disadvantage in discussing, but an airdrop and a pre-mine and some market making is still an ICO. Plus obvious management team reliance for expectation of profit, etc. Charles says an airdrop is not an ICO. Even the SEC has left this ambiguous. Ask the SEC what the status of EOS is after their settlement with Block.one. There was no public offering of ADA from a centralized source. There was one by Ethereum for Ether, and they apparently aren't a security, so that can't even be the standard. I'm done with the Bitcoin community calling everyone who isn't Bitcoin shitcoin scammers. I'm done with the Team Orange lobbying the US government to criminalize everything but Bitcoin. I'm done with the sad arguments that mining somehow is different when Satoshi was the sole miner for months with Bitcoin and had absolute power over the network. He stayed anonymous by his own admission because of legal ambiguity. I'm sorry, running a network yourself for a year, getting 10% of the supply and then selling them isn't somehow morally superior to proof of stake. The public supply of ADA was distributed by tens of thousands of Japanese people trading on the secondary market after the network launched. And there's no response after that. So, very interesting, right? This is a really interesting debate. I haven't heard it from this angle for a while, but I wanted to bring you guys aware to this. And what do you guys think? Do you think there's a difference here? So, I guess here's what I would say. On one hand, I think Charles is right. There isn't much difference in terms of his last points there that he laid out, where somebody still controlled the supply, but it's different because it's just anonymous. It shouldn't be that different, though. We shouldn't look at it very differently. Somebody still had an invested interest in it working. We just don't know who that person is. But I also will say that there was some form of ICO here. Granted, it wasn't in the United States. So this went on and on, back and forth, and very interesting to say the least, though. And I wanted to get your guys' opinions and thoughts on it. What do you guys think? I mean, how do you think the SEC should go about everything that's not Bitcoin? Or do you think the SEC should include Bitcoin with everything else? And there should be one kind of approach in looking at this. What should be the deciding factor? Let me know what you guys think about this down below. No matter what, I'll end with this. I'm an investor in Bitcoin, but I'm also an investor for Cardano. I'm an investor in each of them for different reasons. They bring different things to the table. I wish we didn't have to get caught up in the semantics on what's a security and what's a commodity and what constitutes a security, but it's just kind of the nature of the beast right now. But from an investor standpoint, I like them both, and I think they both have some merit here, big time merit, moving forward in this next crypto bull run. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this video out there because I think it's an important one for people to see. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.